What's up? Welcome to Shop Talk, where we talk shop. I'm Sam here with Jack, and what are we going to talk about today, Jack?
Well, Sam, we getting ready to ramp back up.
That's exciting.
Yeah, that's exciting. We had Eddie release Cook County.
Nice,
So,
finally. It's about time.
Yeah, that's a lot of work coming. So
Yeah.
we're getting prepared for that. Gosh, the beginning of the year was we were going hot and heavy, and now
Yeah.
kind of had like about
A little bit of a
about
lull.
2-3 week dip.
Yeah,
You know, cut back on the overtime a little bit. As you can see, it's
I'm sure Dean was
It's,
disappointed.
1:15 in the afternoon.
Right,
Everybody's
yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, once Cook County gets rolling, we'll be ramping back up again.
Awesome. Yeah, that's exciting. Good to have something ahead of us to kind of like look forward to and kind of get after it.
For sure. And yeah, Bob from JC Lick was in yesterday. We were talking about some of the products that we've got coming, and we've got some really cool veneer coming.
Yeah.
Cook County's a good walnut job, good walnut veneer. We were talking about those planks for Trillet.
Sure.
All that wire brush with the grain
Yeah,
fill. It's
that'd
like
be fun.
10,000 square feet or something like
Linear
that.
feet, yeah.
Linear feet, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot. So some really cool finishes. Gosh, we had a golden eucalyptus for Manhattan Associates.
Okay.
Yeah, Greg's job.
Okay.
That stuff from Dogi, I believe. It's really good looking stuff.
And I saw one come through today for O'Melveny. It is a Shoshuki bond.
Yeah.
See that stuff?
Yeah, I did.
Wild. I didn't even know they could make a veneer like that.
Yeah,
So-
that's gonna be really cool.
That'd be cool.
So yes, we're gonna get out of this kind of laminate. We've done so much
Sure.
twist and trill lately, laminate.
Kept us
that-
going, but
It did.
Yeah.
It did. But now we're gonna get into some really nice high-end stuff. So
Awesome.
Excited
Awesome.
for that.
Yeah, that is exciting. So today, we just want to do some updates on what's going on here at Love Spark, or as we like to call it, the operation.
The operation.
Right.
Yep. That's right.
Talk about some wins that we've had, and talk about some things that we're struggling with. So
Yeah, sure. I mean, where do we start?
I don't know. Should we start with the bad and then with the good?
We can start with
Okay.
that. Start with that. We won't get into the Southern Company boardroom tables because
Yeah. We'll just cut that out.
maybe it's too soon.
Too
We're
soon.
still dealing with that, but
Yeah.
But no, I mean, gosh, one of the things me and James have been really putting our heads together on is this delamination, right?
Sure.
So, I mean, shoot, we got this HNTV
Yep.
island from RJ that came in, and all the corners are cracked. All the
Right.
laminate.
Yeah.
So now we're trying to fix this. So we're sanding this laminate, and we're like, all right, well, what veneer? If we want to contact veneer on,
Right.
we got this Elm veneer that we got to contact on. That's really unfortunate timing. But so we're trying to figure out what glue do we use.
Sure.
So, and we've always struggled with this. I mean, we had
Curves specifically,
curves
metal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's just so many different glues out there. There's so many different applications. If you do it metal to wood, or you doing laminate to whatever. It's just
Sure.
so there's a lot of different scenarios.
Yeah.
But James and I, we brought in some different glues. We've got a some alpha glue
Okay.
that we
The blue stuff.
Yes, the blue stuff. Yeah, that we have to
Yeah, the
sit.
blue goo.
It's all,
Yep.
It's got to sit up high, it's gravity fed, so we've been doing a ton of testing, and we've even been testing the tan board, doing
Right.
the tan board of
Yep.
paper, so we feel like we've got a good solution for that, so, but ultimately what we're gonna do for HNTV to answer that specific question, we're gonna do Tight Bond 2
Okay.
yellow
Yellow glue.
our typical yellow glue that we use for just about everything. We'll glue that on each surface.
Right.
So we'll sand the veneer, or excuse me, the laminate down to the phenolic backer, and then we'll roll yellow glue on that surface, and then we'll roll it on the fleece.
You let them cure?
We're gluing veneer to fleece.
Okay.
And then we'll put yellow glue on that. We'll let them dry for probably minimum 2 to 3 hours.
Okay.
Right? So typically we let them dry overnight. You come in and then you take an iron and you heat it up to reactivate that
Awesome.
glue.
Yeah.
And the bond is awesome. So we did that with was F2, F1 for Inside Global, that big desk that
Right.
had Tambor on it.
Yep.
And that
Yeah.
that sat around here, so we waited for that logo.
Yeah, in the garage.
We had it in the garage, we had it on the dock,
Yep.
it was the middle of winter, the temperature was fluctuating, and that thing was solid.
Yeah.
So
I saw maybe once we pulled it out, it hadn't been prepped yet, but I mean, maybe a 30-second of pop between a couple seams, and it was easily filled in. Like, that's impressive.
It was pretty nice. So
Yeah, that's cool.
So I feel confident. in
Yeah.
that, but
And so that solution is a great solution, but it only works with veneer, right? You can't put an iron on laminate
you really don't
or
want
on
to know.
or on metal. So that's why we're kind of working through some of these other products to see what can be a solution for metal, for laminate, and get that tack. But we have problems with just our contact adhesive. Just getting squishy at the corners.
The canister.
Yeah, the
That we
canister.
spray on.
Yeah.
Everybody has always told me that it's all in user application, and there's probably a ton of truth to that, but it's just so finicky. I mean, if you do 10 radiuses with that stuff, you might only have a 50% success
Yeah.
rate, and that's just not good.
That's not good enough,
So,
yeah.
so we're really cracking down, trying to figure out for what application is the best
Yeah.
that we use. So.
And I know James is really passionate about finding something that's going to work. So
Yes.
he's getting after it. I know.
Yeah. He is. He definitely is.
Racking
Which
his
is
brains,
good.
so,
He's motivated to solve the problem. So
Yeah.
grateful for that.
Cool.
But yeah, so that's certainly a loss that I guess you could count.
Just something you're struggling with.
It's just it's something to work through, and it's difficult.
Yeah.
We've had so much conversation about the Trillet metal panels and how
Yep.
we're going to do that. And we feel pretty confident in using the PUR glue.
Sure.
We've certainly tested 4 or 5 different glues. But yeah, that's gonna be a big project.
That'll
this
be a
summer.
big project. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not looking forward to it, but
No, well, no. It's a lot. It's
Yeah.
a lot. But man, having the time, kudos to Josh Peterson for bringing in those sample sheets
Sure.
to give us the
Yep.
opportunity to play around with it.
Yep.
Instead of being like, hey, you got 2 weeks to get these 5.
I released them. Yeah.
You released John on those?
No, it just instead of saying, "Hey, I released them. Figure out how to do them now." Yeah, like giving us some eyes on them beforehand. So yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Anyways, how about you? What are you working through?
I think one of the biggest struggles that I've had my focus on this year, and actually really the conversation started in October, is just our workflow with, right now we do all of our product designing and engineering inside of Microvellum, and then we send it out to Blue Cell, which is an optimizer. It creates our paperwork, and then that's what we put out to the shop floor. We've had struggles with Blue Cell, as long as I've been here.
Yeah.
It does some cool things, but then they're just really hard to work with, HeroSoft. And so we made a decision based on, talking with Jake Smith, who's been running the machining sale out here, and we've had conversation with him for a couple of years now, having him involved in a lot of the listing meetings. But we had a conversation with him, I think back in October, saying, hey, we know Energy's coming. We wanna move to an all Microvellum workflow in engineering. And so, because Microvellum integrates well with Energy, whereas it can pull in a lot of this rich information that we just don't have right now, and we can't have because we're not going straight from Microvellum. Things may change after the fact in Blue Cell. And so we set on this path, I want to say it was in October of last year, and my hope was to be fully integrated Microvellum to Energy by March of this year. Obviously, it's April right now.
Sure.
And so that didn't happen. And so that's, we've been struggling through it. We've been making progress. But Microvellum they're not great to work with either, or at least our rep has been, he's not a great rep. as long as I've been here, he's kind of been a joke. Eric McGillis, if you're listening, you suck at your job. I don't hate to say it. It's just the truth.
Truth hurts.
It does. So I took a different approach after trying to, get some things done through him. I got in contact with a couple of technicians over at Microvellum, one to do reports for us and one to do our post processors, which is sending all of the information out to our machines. That's the really important one, and then the reports are going to be what create the documentation for the guys out on the shop floor. And so the guy we're working with for the reports been super responsive, getting everything that we need to get from him. We've gotten as far as we can on that, and without now we need to get the post processors ironed out. And that guy, not super responsive, is in lives in Hawaii, so
Must be nice.
but his availability is it's funny. This week he sent an email to Josh Vernovas, who I said, this is your thing now. I'm here if you need me, but I need you to just get after this. And he's been really good at following up.
Yeah, I saw him looking at flights to Maui.
Yeah, right? Yeah, to just go find this guy.
Yeah.
But the guy emailed him this week and was let's set up a meeting. I've got availability all week. And so Josh looks at his availability and it's Wednesday and Thursday, 3:30 p.m. and 6 p.m. It's that's an open week for you. So yeah, and it's finally he got a meeting scheduled with him. He's all right, Thursday I've got this meeting scheduled. Gets on the phone with him, and the guy's I need the model of your Cellco. And so Josh is okay, got it. And he's okay, that's all I needed. I can get started working on this now. And it's
man.
okay, so it was a 2-minute meeting, and you couldn't have done that in the email, right? So it's that's just been a struggle, and I think it's not all negative. There's some positives in it. I think we're getting close to a point where we're actually going to be able to start testing some of this stuff. At least on the Rover's end, I think he's gotten something that we can at least critique, where we can run some programs and critique it. I know just this week, actually, we got Jake Smith set up with a workstation in the office so that as he works together with Josh, we'll be able to get some really good real-time, let me send this nest out. Okay, here's all the things that are wrong with it, and we want it to operate in this way, so it's going to be more efficient for the machine. Because really, the goal is that the operator gets, they put the sheet up there, they get a program, and they press go. They don't have to do anything funky with it out at the machine. And so it's a struggle. We're struggling through it. There's hope on the horizon. I also think the fact that Energy bought Microvellum,
It can only be a positive.
It can only be a positive, and it's validation that hey, before we knew that, and we made this decision in October, hey, we want to move forward with a full Microvellum workflow, knowing that we're going into energy. It's it just backs up. Yeah, that was the right decision. It's a struggle, but it's going to be worth it.
Sure.
So,
well,
yeah.
For as long as I've been here, I'm pretty sure we started within 2 weeks of each
yeah,
other.
yeah.
But as long as I can remember, the excuse or the problem for this or the reason for these issues is we have 3 different parties trying to communicate with each other.
Yeah.
So getting rid of Blue Cell,
Yeah.
That middleman,
Yep.
you think that's gotta help. So
I'm hopeful.
Yeah,
I'm still hopeful. So
I love the idea
yeah.
of Jake being more involved.
Yeah. He spends so much time in the office anyways. It's might as well give him
Well,
a
he
shot.
has, he's first of all, he's very knowledgeable.
Totally.
Right? He's got
Yeah.
a ton of experience. He is the door guy.
Yeah.
So he can be there to help with all of that, which he's been doing for a few years now. But he also has such a good relationship with Jake Stocker.
True.
So
And I think with the whole group, really.
yeah, absolutely. But with him, Jake's your best lister, right? That goes without saying.
Sure.
If Jake Smith can get involved and help out with all this programming and some of these issues, it just frees up Jake Stocker to help, get the 3 guys,
Right.
those guys up to speed, so he doesn't have to deal as much
Right. Yeah.
with all the machine program. That'll be a Jake Smith thing. So, and not only that, but one last thing that I think is really benefiting us is we have a few new hires on the floor
Yeah.
for our machines. So Ed is at the Selco doing an awesome job.
Cool.
And we have this young kid named Riley.
Okay.
Who is
Yeah, I like
who is
him.
on
He's
the
cool.
Echo,
Yeah.
running the stream, and it's like, man, this kid's like really sound, and we kind of, really like what Sean's doing with the Rover. So hey, Jake's there, and Riley's kind of, I mean, we definitely need Jake involved.
Yeah.
And he is the most experienced machinist we've got.
Yeah.
But it's given Riley and Ed and some of these younger guys room to kind of grow without Jake being right there.
Yeah.
Like, hey, what do we have Jake do now? It's like, hey, we got him going on to bigger and better things that can really benefit the overall team.
Yeah, the whole collective. Yeah. Well, and I think too, you mentioned Jake Stocker and Jake Smith working really well hand in hand, and that's actually a win that I wanted to talk about. That also, again, developed this week is had a conversation with Jake Stocker, and I've been trying to think about as we go into the future, how do I care for the listing team? How do I put someone like as a leader of that? And obviously, we all know Jake Stocker is the natural leader in that area because of his experience and just his knowledge and but for a while he was never really interested in any sort of management or supervisory role. He just loves to list, and he's really good at it, and he just wants to do that. But a conversation kind of started in February. I was doing his annual review, kind of mentioning like, hey, this is really a position that I need to fill, that it would allow me to kind of take some of the day-to-day tasks that I do in relationship to listing and say, hey, this should be done by someone else. And he expressed an openness to that position, and so I actually got to offer him that position this week, and he accepted it. So that's
really?
a huge
He
win.
didn't say a word to me about it. Well, good for him. Good for you.
Right? So
he
that's
deserves
exciting.
it. I mean,
he really deserves it. I mean, a couple of people that I talked to beforehand and saying like, hey, I'm going to offer this position to Jake. They're like, you mean the thing he's already doing?
Yeah.
It's like that really is his role.
Giving him the
Yeah.
title that he's kind of been
Yeah.
deserving of.
Yeah, so I think that's a huge win for the department. He's so knowledgeable, and again, it's a lot of stuff he's already been doing, and so I'm excited to kind of just see what happens with that department, and as he's, as people chase his excellence. I hope that
He is a good bar to chase, and he
Yeah.
sets a standard, and it's a high standard. I mean, he's very thorough.
Yeah, so that's
awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, what about you? What are some wins that you've had?
Well, I mean, man, I kind of touched on some of the new hires,
Yeah.
but we got this guy Scott. Solid, right?
Oh, yeah.
I've talked about Scott. I know.
Yeah.
Solid has been. I don't want to say it's been a revolving door, but we had Dobbin. He retired 3 years ago.
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that, 3 or 4 years ago, and then his son Ronco took over that role, and Ronco was a pain in the butt to deal with. I don't care who you ask, they'll tell you the same thing. Ronco's out, and then we were left pretty. Just didn't have I can put.
Come on, Waymeyer. He was.
Waymeyer deserved an opportunity because
He did.
he really stepped up.
He grew a lot. So
He did.
Yeah.
He did. But again, it's like his ceiling was only so high.
Sure.
So
That's fair.
he handled I would say 75% of everything that came to that department. But anything that was of a challenge, it was like, okay, we have Ryan Huber, we have Kevin, we have Mark Hamlock,
Right.
we have people that would step in and handle those difficult projects. Well, now I hired this guy, Scott Westman. He actually worked here back in
That's what he told me.
'99.
Yeah.
Yeah, he goes, wow, I recognize Mark Hamlocker. He looks exactly the same. And I was like, yeah, that's what everybody says. But Scott, so Scott worked here when he was like, 19, 20 years old. For a couple of years, left, bounced around, did his own thing for like 15 years, and then was working at a small local woodworking shop in Rockford, and came over and hired him. So I was, oh really? You used to work here? No, you've got this experience.
Oh, yeah.
He's been dynamite.
He's such a great guy.
He is such a great guy. He's got a great attitude.
Mm-hmm.
He's extremely knowledgeable. He gets along with everybody. I mean, we've had a ton of like solid radius nosing lately, right? For
full nose, all
full
sorts of
nose.
stuff.
I mean, the complicated stuff where it's
3
like,
inches thick.
yeah, you gotta make a jig. You run it through the shaper.
Yeah.
I mean, most people are like scared to even do that,
Yeah.
and he's just knocking it out. So.
Yeah.
We went from having David to, hey, we lost like a really high level guy, to now it's like we're, I don't want to say he's of David's level. I didn't work with David for all that long, but he's substantially better than what we had with Rocco or anyone else over there. So.
And he's really easy to work with. So like that's something that we couldn't have said for Ronco or for David. Is like he had the knowledge, but he was hard to work with. Whereas like
yes. 100%
Scott's
right.
up there, and he's just such, so easy to work with, and wants to work with.
He's so
the best.
He's so appreciative of this opportunity too. I mean, you figure he was making $22 an hour at this other job.
Yeah.
Comes in, he's a full journeyman, so he's making
totally
journeyman wage, and he's absolutely deserving of it. And not only that, but it was like 3 weeks in, and we had all that Corian for Sage.
Yeah.
And he was like, I worked on Corian for years, and so we had him building this with Brian, and
that was cool too.
I was like, Brian, what do you think? What's this guy's skill set? Brian was like, he knows what he's doing. So that's another win. I mean, we got another really high level guy that just kind of fell in our laps. So
super thankful for that.
So feel really good about the solid department.
Cool.
And hey, can't forget about Chris Dean. I got Chris Dean doing a lot of different stuff.
Yeah.
With all this energy, updating inventories and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Chris has been kind of my go-to guy. Hey, I need you to take care of this, need you to take care of that. So, Scott, an older guy, 50, he just turned 50. But he's not super like,
tech savvy. Sure.
Yeah. So Chris has been doing a really good job of managing the solid inventory.
Okay.
And then kind of like setting Scott up. So having a lot of conversation with Chris on like, hey, Scott, this is a complicated deal. Scott's going to handle this. There's no question about that.
Sure.
I want you to handle this, the basic, the blockings, all the basic stuff you can go into the builder and whatnot. Chris has done a great job. So.
I agree. Yeah. No, those two are really killing it in the area. And the nice thing too is, I know it's the solid area, but I'll see all sorts of things over there just because those two together are a pretty capable team. You can kind of throw anything over there.
Yeah, it's been a really good combo. And we've got a lot of solid going through right now.
Yeah, we do.
We've got the Truist stair treads. We've got the Denver Baptist stair treads are going through. And, it's good stuff.
Those curved curbs for Peachtree.
Gosh. Well, let's talk about the Tambor.
Yeah,
right.
That's
all
another
that
good
Peachtree
cool.
Tambor.
Yeah.
What was it? We ordered Tambor for it was Inside Global. We paid a fortune for that stuff.
And waited a century.
Yeah,
really.
Like what, 12 weeks?
It's a 12-week lead time, and they were really.
I think we had to pay in advance. I mean, it was pretty bogus from Service Solutions, but so anyways, so we get Peachtree and we're like, hey, let's we can't wait this long. Right? It's a Josh Pearson job, so it's a rush.
Sure.
Right, goes without saying. But it was like, you know what? Let's have Star run this.
Yeah.
And then hey, we can either send this out in individual pieces, which is what we'll do if we're building a desk or something. We'll beat a glue, pop a couple pin nails, and keep going down the line. Well, in this case, Mark Toll is wrapping columns and he's gluing this straight to wall panels in the field. So it's like, well, we can't do individual pieces, and Star doesn't offer them in sheets like Surface Solution does. So it's like, hey, we'll just make our own Tambor sheets.
Yeah.
So that's what we did. I ran the numbers this morning. I think we ordered all of that solid for like $9,500
Yeah,
from
okay.
Star.
Yeah.
That's what I saw. I
Yeah,
could
yeah.
be wrong. I didn't do a deep dive into it. But I mean, we killed that.
I think, yeah, because I remember I thought that we had gotten a quote from Surfacing Solutions, and it was like $38,000, and all the tambour from Star, just in sticks, was about $8,000. I know we had to
Yeah.
order a little bit extra, but I mean, just $30,000 there. I know we had to put some labor into putting paper on it and making sheets, but I mean, just this morning we were talking, and Star put in an order to us to see if we could make a bunch of sheets of tambour for them.
Yeah, they had
Right?
Derek had that conversation with Tim, and it was like, well, I mean, we've done this before,
Right.
just not on a regular basis. And yeah, they want us to do like 115 sheets. So,
Cool.
you know, again, there was some glue testing that went
Yeah.
into that, but you know, we feel pretty confident we can do it.
Yeah.
And hey,
Just another opportunity to provide a different type of product that, you know, we talk about Onsite as a service company. It's like Surfacing Solutions doesn't provide good service. We felt that, and so we've looked for other options, and other people are feeling that as well. So if we can corner that market and
it
say,
could be part of the solution.
boom, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so that'll be interesting. We'll see what comes of that. I mean, that's really it's you bring that stuff in. You really only need one guy to do it. The
That's
jigs
true.
are made.
Yep.
We could set up an area up here and
Yeah,
we'll
that'd
see.
be cool. Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, as far as a nice win, I mean, again, feel really good about the new hires. We got them all through the Workforce Connection
Right.
program.
That's another win I think that we both have benefited from.
Yeah, because you hired
Ethan. Yeah.
Ethan. That's right.
Yeah,
The
so-
drafter.
Yeah, so I mean, that's a cool program. I know we've talked about it before, but it's like, you said, what was the number you said we're getting, like, a
Doreen
check
told
for?
me last month we got a check for just under $10,000 in reimbursement
That's awesome.
for the guys' wages, and they just did a little feature article on us
Right.
on their
Yeah,
Facebook
that's cool.
page. Yeah, took a group photo and
Yeah,
of the guys. I think we have like 7 guys in there right now, and that didn't include that
Some
was
of the new
only
hires,
yeah
some of
those
the
are like
new
7
hires.
guys that are like in the program,
Right.
not the most recent people like Ethan or Marco or
sure.
or,
Yeah.
whoever else. So that's awesome. So obviously we're benefiting from that,
Yeah,
but these employees are also benefiting.
Right.
I mean, these guys get $500 for the tools. I mean,
that's awesome.
Riley's got a brand new toolbox and like a $250 drill and set
Nice.
and all that. And
Yeah.
it's like, hey,
Essentials to get started, and like, you can add to it, but like, lets you hit the ground running.
yeah. Well, again, it's just you're bringing these guys in and you're telling them like, hey, you need to provide your own tools.
Right.
Here's a huge, gift from this state-funded program.
Right,
So
so,
really
Awesome.
pleased with that.
yeah,
But no, I mean, since and I don't even know if this is specifically an energy benefit, but like we've gotten so much better with managing our schedule and staying on top of it and managing the overtime and just it's been really nice to see like, hey, can we take Imperial's calling? Should we take this work?
Sure.
Are we buried? Do we have capacity for this? And
right.
to be able to identify what's coming, in 4 or 5 weeks down the road.
Yeah.
We knew we were gonna have this little dip 3-4 weeks in advance.
Right.
So we prepared for that.
Yeah, we were taking stuff from Imperial to kind of fill the gap, and yeah, so I never got to a point where listing had to stop. I got close, but things kept trickling in. So like, we were able to. I know we lost a little bit of momentum, but I think we're right back there. We've got a good list now, and so yeah, excited for the summer. I think that's that's the biggest thing. We're 4 months in. We're looking ahead, and we've got a busy summer. So just ready to just put our heads down and get after it.
Agreed. Yeah, United Center. That's coming.
That'll be
We've got
good.
a lot of things going on.
Yeah,
Yeah, ramping back up should not be that difficult.
cool.
We're in. I would like to think we're in a nice little sweet spot with how we're staffed.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's cool.
yeah.
Well, great talking to you. Maybe we'll do this again. It's been fun.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys, for tuning in, and this has been Shop Talk.
Shop talk. Thank you, everybody.